I've just attended an event by the AES, the states of the Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Of course, you know the types of governments that they have and the quote-unquote controversy that this governance system that they've elected or they've had thrust upon them. But you know, some people think it's controversial and some don't. So one of the things that are important though to understand is that in these days, a lot of these things that may seem controversial to us, the Africans are having a very different conversation about them. So a coup used to be something very bad, but now the Africans seem intent to kind of judge the coup by its outcomes. Have these people done a good job? Have they made their people's lives better? And the jury is out on that. But it's always good to listen to these people and at least the representatives, because the type of message that they have to share here in Washington is quite important for the type of country that the United States is as a superpower. So the thrust of the talk, of course, is about the countries that are insisting on sovereignty. They're insisting on kind of like nominal and effective sovereignty. They're insisting when it comes to terrorism, which is a big deal. And they're very sensitive about this. And indeed, I think the ambassador has a lot of experience in that arena, the ambassador of Burkina Faso. But they're insisting that they participate in all the fighting and stuff. One of the things that they raised, of course, that they said is a sore spot in the relations with Washington is that he mentioned an example where they ordered some aircraft from Brazil. Great deal was signed, but when they were waiting for delivery, they were waiting. Then the Brazilians said, we have a complication. We really can't right now because the avionics are made in the US and there's kind of some restrictions on that. So those are some of the things that these ambassadors are dealing with. It's kind of a very different model of being an ambassador. You are an ambassador, but also you are like a military attaché. Your country is fighting a war, so you must promulgate the fighting of war and be an ambassador at the same time and be dealing with things like soft power. So a lot of African countries then may not want to buy to procure things from even like Asia or these other partners, but they're forced to, from a set of circumstances or complications that emerge. Another thing I'll say is that the relationship that they have with Washington is less controversial than we might imagine for such leaders. So they're a decent relationship than one might imagine. Indeed, we haven't had any condemnation of these countries, which is quite telling.